If your team isn't using ClickUp, you're wasting time, and data proves it. 61% of knowledge workers manage work more than doing it, switching apps 1,000 times a day. That's work sprawl and costs millions. ClickUp replaces 20 apps with Convergence, uniting projects, docs, and chats, while AI super agents handle the busy work. Join 4 million teams using ClickUp to finish work 30% faster. Try it free and get 15% off AI upgrades at clickup.com/podcast. That's CLICKUP.com/podcast.
Are you noticing your car insurance rate creep up even without tickets or claims? You're not alone. That's why there's Jerry, your proactive insurance assistant. Jerry handles the legwork by comparing quotes side by side from over 50 top insurers, so you can confidently hit buy. No spam calls, no hidden fees. Jerry even tracks rates and alerts you when it's best to shop. Drivers who save with Jerry could save over $1,300 a year. Don't settle for higher rates. Download the Jerry app or visit jerry.ai/ACAST today.
Today's episode is brought to you by Amantara. Amantara is an education-first plant and mushroom wellness brand, and they specialise in providing dietary supplements that can aid your well-being. Amanita muscaria is a legal mushroom that is traditionally associated with relaxation and nervous system calm. As somebody who has issues around anxiety and sleep, I am always looking for dietary supplements that may aid in reducing the levels of anxiety that I experience and just make my brain feel a little bit calmer. Amanita is used by adults all over the US as part of a wind down or evening routine. Amantara is a brand that emphasises transparency, responsible use and education. Their website is full of information about Amanita muscaria and its potential benefits. As with any dietary supplement, it is incredibly important to consult your medical provider before trying it. To learn more about Amanita muscaria and Amantara's approach, visit amantara.com. That's amantara.com. Hello and welcome to mini episode number 507 of Real Life Ghost Stories. And I have 3 spooky stories for you today, and the last story comes from December the 12th, 2025. And story number 1 comes from Amanda. I wanted to share with you a story and EVP my friend and I recorded at Whispers Estate in Mitchell, Indiana. We are paranormal investigators in southern Indiana and spent the night at Whispers Estate, which is about an hour and a half drive from where we are. The house is fairly old and used to be the home of a doctor who back then ran his medical practice out of the home. There are many stories of, I will just call them female surgeries gone wrong and women dying in the house. But the biggest story is about one spirit they called Rachel. The story is that Rachel, an 8-ish-year-old girl, was playing by the family Christmas tree one night before bed. In this time, they used actual candles to light the tree. While she was playing, her nightgown caught fire and she was severely burned. She was brought to the second floor for treatment, but later succumbed to her injuries. On the second floor, there is a room called Rachel's room. It has a huge bed, dresser with a mirror, armoire, and all the bedroom usuals. But her bed is very unusual. It is now covered in baby dolls. Old ones, new ones, ones that make noise, ones that don't. I mean absolutely covered. Investigators bring them to her when they visit. The owner of the house has placed a partially deflated beach ball on one post at the end of the bed. Apparently she likes to play with it, so it falls off quite a bit. We got done setting up our equipment and left the room to go and set up more. While we were out in the hallway, we heard a baby doll giggle. We froze and looked at each other. I said to my friend, "Do you know what that was?" She shook her head, a bit too shocked to register. It was a baby doll. We went back into Rachel's room to try and investigate, but we did not get any intelligent responses, and we do not know what baby doll it came from. We did not touch or move or mess with the baby dolls because it felt disrespectful, so we have no idea how this baby doll went off. The next incident in Rachel's room happened about 15 to 20 minutes after we had left the room. We were downstairs on the first floor investigating and heard a thump on the ceiling above us. Rachel's room was directly above us. We looked at each other and said, "Beach ball." We didn't go up right away because we knew we had cameras going, and we later confirmed during review that it was in fact the beach ball. Both of these things were amazing enough, but the absolute best evidence that we caught was an EVP. We were down the hall from Rachel's room in an area kind of like a lounge, but it had a bench that looked like it was from an old church. It was appropriately named the Whisper Bench, as many investigators hear whispers in real time or when they listen back to recorders. It was about 12 to 1 a.m. and we were exhausted. We couldn't finish a sentence without yawning. I was sitting on the floor at the end of the bench by another chair. My friend was closest to me on the end of the bench. We had a voice recorder set up on a table at the other end of the bench, closest to the entryway from the hallway. Through a yawn, I ask, "Did you like it here?" And nothing. Or so I thought. Upon review, when we got home, I got a response. A little girl's voice saying, "Go to bed." It is the clearest EVP we have ever recorded, and I am still dumbfounded by it. Could it be Rachel, tired of hearing us yawn? Or was it another spirit? Oh, and you will be glad to know that Amanda sent over videos of all three incidents. So a video of the baby doll giggling, a video of the capturing of the EVP, and also a video of the bouncing ball coming or falling off the bed. All those three videos will be across all social media. So it'll be on Instagram, Facebook, and it'll be on Patreon, those three videos, right? But I'm going to put in the EVPs now. So the first EVP is of the baby doll giggling. So I'm going to play that one more time, and I want to be really clear that the only thing that so I've done nothing with that clip that you've just heard, not a single thing. I haven't done anything with it. I've just cut it down so it's only the section of the baby doll laughing. I'm now going to amplify it so that you can hear it clearer for your nightmares. And in the rest of the clip, which you will see on social media, the girls stop and they're like, did you hear that? And then they say, well, we've got it on camera if it did happen. And guess what? You did get it on camera. Okay, so that's the first EVP. And I don't know if there's like a different explanation, but I hear a little child giggling, like a baby doll giggling. So I can hear it. I hear what you heard, Amanda. I hear it. And it gave me the heebie-jeebies. And I'm going to add in now the second EVP, that is the girl's voice.
Well, do you like it here?
So again, that is completely unedited. I'm now going to play it for you, just amplified.
Well, do you like it here?
Okay, I love these EVPs. Honestly, they were so good. So like I said, there's three videos as well that are the two EVPs and then the beach ball falling off the bed. So they are there. They are on social media. Go and check them out if you want to. And I genuinely always think that EVPs are probably the only paranormal like ghost hunting equipment and evidence that I really engage with. If it's caught on camera or if it's caught on EVP, I'm on board with it. The kind of rest of the instruments, I don't really understand scientifically how they work, and nobody can ever explain to me how they work. But if it's an EVP and you can hear that voice and it is clear, then I'm here for it. And these don't sound like EVPs where you hear it and it's just like, a growl, or it sounds like sort of just static or nonsense. And then somebody says, oh, it sounds like it's saying this thing. And then you hear that word because you're primed to hear it, right? These sound like, if I heard that for the first time, I would hear it say, go to bed. If I heard the other one for the first time, I would hear a baby doll giggling for sure. And it may be that one of those baby dolls was somehow triggered. Like maybe, I don't know, somehow the vibrations made it go off. I don't know. Am I frantically trying to find reasons for that to have happened? Maybe yes. I will definitely have to look up Whisper's estate and see if I can do maybe a full episode about it, because it sounds like a place with a really interesting history, and Rachel's room sounds like a place that is full of activity. I love getting in EVPs, so if you have an EVP that you want to send in, by all means, please do send in your EVPs and give me a bit of backstory, because they're so fun to play on the podcast.
AI is transforming customer service. It's real and it works. And with Finn, we've built the #1 AI agent for customer service. We're seeing lots of cases where it's solving up to 90% of real queries for real businesses. This includes the real-world complex stuff like issuing a refund or cancelling an order. And we also see it when Finn goes up against competitors. It's top of all the performance benchmarks, top of the G2 leaderboard, and if you're not happy, we'll refund you up to $1 million, which I think says it all. Check it out for yourself at fin.ai.
If your team isn't using ClickUp, you're wasting time, and data proves it. 61% of knowledge workers manage work more than doing it, switching apps 1,000 times a day. That's work sprawl and costs millions. ClickUp replaces 20 apps with Convergence, uniting projects, docs, and chats, while AI super agents handle the busy work. Join 4 million teams using ClickUp to finish work 30% faster. Try it free and get 15% off AI upgrades at clickup.com/podcast. That's CLICKUP.com/podcast.
Most drivers overpay for car insurance, not because they're careless, but because the system is needlessly complicated. Jerry fixes that. Traditional comparison sites give you quotes once, then disappear. But Jerry can handle all the insurance shopping legwork and never stops working. Compare 50-plus insurers side by side and purchase directly in the app. No spam calls, no hidden fees. They'll even monitor price trends and can alert you to better rates. Drivers who save with Jerry could save over $1,300 a year. Download the Jerry app or visit jerry.ai/ACAST today.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side, your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. And now, during our President's Day sale, take 50% off our limited edition bed, plus an extra $100 off all mattresses. And Saturday, only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com.
And our second story today comes from Kate. I wasn't planning to write again. This will be my 3rd email, the first 2 about my old house in St. Louis. Today's story was episode 490 called Sister. It reminded me of my own pregnancy experience. I guess I should have a trigger warning for miscarriage, stalking, and divorce. I lost 2 babies, but the second one is the baby that I'm writing about. I lost her 16 years ago and successfully carried her twin to birth, and her twin has turned into an amazing young woman, and oddly the only one to have taken after me in seeing ghosts. Which I don't know if there's anything to do with the twin thing. I was also a twin born without a sibling. Anyway, it started at my daughter's birth. I would be holding my sleeping angel and hearing another baby crying in the house. I would find her adorable toddler self playing peekaboo with seemingly no one. As my girl grew, so did the other girl. I would see her out of the corner of my eye. My ghost girl looks like my daughter, same olive skin, near black hair and gorgeous green eyes. The eyes were my first sense that she belonged to me. My daughter and I have odd eyes, emerald green with central heterochromia, and a forest green, sometimes dark blue, circle around the iris. They're so different that they stop conversations. My ghost girl has the same eyes. I've named her Isabel. I've had many experiences with my Isabel. She has never shied away from showing herself to me. I remember waking to her, pushing my bangs out of my eyes, and then she's gone. During my daughter's growing years, it was a common occurrence for others to hear Isabel calling to me. She's always called me Mama. My husband at the time, not her father, was called by his name. The exception was my daughter. One morning, I woke her up to get ready for school. We had the same routine. I wake her up and go to her sister's room and wake her up. One morning I went to wake up my now 16-year-old and she asked me why I woke up the youngest first. Isabel had followed me into her room and she thought it was my youngest. That was the first time that she ever verbalised that she saw Isabel. Many times I watched my kids cross the street to get on the bus for school and see an extra shadow go with her. I could catch glimpses of her in my rearview mirror. At work, she loved causing mischief. Things would go missing to show up in different places. At the time, I was a teacher at a facility for people with intellectual disabilities. My building was sectioned into 4 classrooms and an inner office. And she didn't just stick to my classroom. One day I went into a co-worker's room to ask him a question, and before I could ask, he asked me if I was ever going to address the little girl who was constantly with me. She moved things around the house as well and left drawers open. At dinner we would hear running over our heads, but we stopped checking when we never found anything. Family got to saying they knew I'd been at their houses because things were moved around. She is a playful child. I divorced my husband. It started in January 22 and was finalised that December. He was a narcissist and therapy is ongoing for me. There were nights that I would wake up to him watching me, standing in the dark corners in my room. He would break into my apartment and steal lingerie. And when he couldn't get into the apartment, he would sit outside all night. The kicker was that he was the cheater who asked for the divorce. It took another year for him to stop the stalking because I changed my last name and he wanted to punish me. I guess he saw it as punishment. I was free. But his stalking was terrifying for my daughters. They saw the truck outside and witnessed him pulling up at the stoplights and taking pictures while we sat in the car. So my girls moved to live with their dad, 2 hours away, and I visit them as much as humanly possible. My job has kept me where I am for now. Since my 16-year-old left, I haven't seen Isabel. My guess is that she went with her sister. Kate, I'm so sorry that you had to go through that. I'm sure there are plenty of people listening who have had to leave a relationship and that it has not been simple, it has not been easy, it has been complicated. Maybe the other person has behaved in a way that has made it incredibly difficult. I'm sorry that you had to go through stalking, and I'd imagine the relationship itself was incredibly difficult. And gosh, I hope, and I hope for you that everything is more peaceful now. And your story is really, really beautiful. And to think that you obviously lost this twin, and the other twin, you know, you carried to full term and she was born, but the twin that was lost has stayed around. It's a really, really beautiful thought. And you're not the only one that's seen her. You know, your daughter has seen her, your colleague in work has seen her, your family know when you've been around because they're like, oh, things are moving around, etc., etc. And it sounds like Isabel is really playful, you know, that she's really trying to make herself known in the sweetest possible way. And we talk about guardian angels and stuff, we talk about regularly on the podcast. And I do wonder if our guardian angels are just people that we have loved and lost, people that we have lost that we never knew, people maybe from our past, you know, from generations gone by, ancestors who maybe we never knew but who have a vested interest in us and making sure that we're okay. So maybe Isabel did. Maybe she did go to with her sister elsewhere to keep an eye on her. And what a gorgeous thing to know that the baby that you lost has just been there with their twin the entire time. And again, I'm really sorry that you had to go through that. And I'm sorry for anybody listening who has to go through an abusive relationship and then the subsequent fallout and breakup being incredibly, incredibly difficult too. It's not a nice place to be. And our final story today comes from Miriam. I've always believed in ghosts, demons, etc., but I do not believe in God. And I was raised by my mother who deeply believed in spirits, souls, healing stones and that kind of stuff. I believe we would be called witches and burned in medieval times. Though I strictly believe in science, facts and need to find reason for almost everything, I've many times felt something around me. Just a little story about how my mom and I could sense things. My mother moved to Sweden with my stepdad during COVID. They bought a small house in the middle of nowhere, without water and electricity and with an outside toilet house. She sold the house my brother and I grew up in Germany, and he and I got the money to buy properties. He bought a house in the town close by my mom. I went to visit the house in December 2024 for the first time. I did not know any backstory of it or anything. I entered the house and felt weird, but brushed it off. We went from room to room, and once I stepped into the basement, I knew someone was there. I immediately got cold. But not because the room was cold, only I was cold. I waited a moment to see if this entity was okay with me being here. My boyfriend, who doesn't believe in ghosts or anything, came downstairs and said, "Wow." I just nodded. "What is this?" he asked. I said, "She's here, but I think she's kind." He said he didn't like this and left the basement immediately. Once I had seen everything of the basement, I went upstairs and said to my mom, "Someone is here." She told me that the house was sold because the man became too old to live in this house alone and went to a retirement home, just shortly after his wife had died in here. My mom said she also felt someone here walking around with her and guiding her. She said she speaks to this spirit, and that it is the old lady that died here. She is unsure if she is confused who these people are and where her husband is. But the real story that I wanted to tell is this. It was late 2019, and I had just moved to Iceland a month or two ago. I was living with a family in the south of Iceland as an au pair. The family's eldest daughter was 19, and the eldest son was 13. The middle son was 8, and the youngest, who I was watching, was 3 at the time. The oldest daughter and the middle son will be important for this story. It was a normal day, and only the children and me were home. We were all doing our own thing, and I was chilling in my bed when all of a sudden I felt someone leaning over me. I tried to turn around to see who it was, but I couldn't move. I knew this wasn't sleep paralysis because I had not fallen asleep and I was wide awake. It wasn't the feeling of not being able to move because of fear. No, I literally couldn't move. I was not being held down, no one touched me, but this thing was still leaning over me. I didn't want to scream or call for help to not startle the children. It stayed like this for probably 2 minutes until it left and I could move again. I turned around, facing the door out of my room, but no one was there. I went up to take a look into the hallway and just brushed it off. Weeks went by and I didn't talk about it. Often at night when I needed to go to the bathroom, I wouldn't be able to open my door at first, as if it was locked. On the second try, it would open. I would think this was because it was old wooden doors. After a while of feeling this strange aura around me, feeling like I was never alone in the house, I talked to the oldest sister about it. She said she had been feeling it too. She had met this entity when she was younger, but it was gone for a long time and recently came back. A week later, she came back to me about it and told me that she had talked to her brother about this. We went to him together, and he, without stopping playing with his toys, said, "Oh yeah, the man with the hat, he lives upstairs." Upstairs? I didn't know there was an upstairs. They showed me the door in the ceiling in the hallway, right where all the rooms met. The boy explained to us that he comes out at night, walks through the hallway, and always goes back to the attic, and that he was friendly. I was creeped out. Never before had I met so many people that felt the same thing as me. I later found out about the Laki eruption in 1784. 20% of the population died in this eruption. 80% of sheep, 50% of cattle, and 50% of horses died from the aftermath. The house was built in the middle of this eruption. Who knows on how many dead bodies, dead families, dead animals this house and all the neighbouring farms stand? How many spirits are trapped? This story still creeps me out to this day, but I rarely tell people about it. Here, ghost stories are normal. Yes, Icelanders still believe in elves, but mostly people from the countryside. We never told the parents and kept it to me and the children. I never told the youngest to not scare him. It must be so validating for people like your ma when you go to the house and you're like, "Oh yeah, I feel it too. There is definitely something here." They must go, "Oh, big deep breath. This is fine. This is fine. I know that this is happening and I know that this is not just me." And I guess, for the older woman who is in the house, it must be really hard if you've been in a house for such a long period of time and you die there. How do you move on? You've potentially had some of the happiest moments of your life there, and it might be that she's like, "Hang on, who are you? Who is this person? Why are you here? And where is my husband? Which kind of breaks my heart a little bit. And I really would not like to have the gift of just being able to sense things around me. I just don't want to know. Do you know? I just want to live in blissful, willful ignorance and not sense the things that are around me. It just sounds like too much hard work. Like to be lying there in bed and suddenly, you know, in Iceland, and you're suddenly frozen solid. You can't move. You know you're not asleep, but something is making you frozen there. And then, you know, again, it's validated by the other members of the household. And then one of the kids is like, oh yeah, that's the man in the hat. He lives upstairs. And if you've got stories that are attached to land where terrible things happened, you know, and a volcanic eruption in 1784 that killed 20% of the population, that's 1 in 5 people dying. That's insane. And then also the aftermath of 80% of sheep, 50% of cattle, 50% of horses. That's people's livelihood. That's people's income. It's their food. It's how they do their work. It's how they make their livelihoods. That is all destroyed, gone, wiped out. Like, that is a lot of energy for the land to hold on to. So it would not surprise me if that was something, you know, if something to do with that eruption, somebody who lost their life was still there, or it was like a stone tape theory type thing and they were playing back the memories or the essence of the person who lived there. And it sounds like, Miriam, you are particularly sensitive and susceptible to these things. So I don't know. I don't envy you. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Thank you to Amanda, Kate and Miriam for sending in your stories. Remember, the last story came from December the 12th, 2025. And if you would like to send in your story, you can do so by emailing it to reallifeghoststoriespodcast@gmail.com. You can also check out the website, reallifeghoststoriespodcast.com. And if you are desperate for some extra content, you can subscribe to the Patreon. That is patreon.com/reallifeghoststories, where for $5 a month or for $2 a month, you can get access to heaps of extra content, as well as every single main and mini episode completely ad-free. And on that note, I shall see you next time.
Exhausted from spending half your night cooking? Factor eliminates the stress with chef-crafted, fully prepared meals delivered to your door. Fresh, never frozen, ready in 2 minutes. Factor delivers zero cooking, zero stress. Just heat and eat over 100 dietitian-approved options weekly with no refined sugars, artificial sweeteners, or refined seed oils. Right now, go to factormeals.com/easy50off and use code EASY50OFF for 50% off and free breakfast for a year. That's factormeals.com/easy50off and use code EASY50OFF.